So this podcast is about you and your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. And we'll talk about the new EP you have coming out and the most recent song, Human, that you released.
Yeah.
That's cool with you.
Um, yeah, so it's been like this last year has been a year of like major change for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've really explored this new sound. I used to be in country music and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm just not happy here anymore. This isn't for me. And
Sure.
so like then COVID happened and I was like, you know what? I'm going like all in. I'm an extremist. I'm going to do this. And so I just spent the whole quarantine like writing and recording, and that's kind of what I'm releasing now is everything I've been working on during the quarantine.
Awesome. Awesome. I
Yeah.
did read you're from Scottsdale. You're born and raised in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a desert girl.
Okay. Right on. Tell me about that a little bit.
Growing up in Scottsdale was fun. It's very suburban, so it was, like just very chill. But I was raised with this huge Armenian family, and
Okay.
so I had a very like chaotic upbringing. I think that's why you can't tell today, but I have like a lot of energy. I'm like a super hyper person. And so I think it's from my big Armenian family.
Right on. Right on. How did you get into music?
I got into music very randomly. I always wanted to be like a veterinarian and take
Okay.
care of animals, but I was 11 years old and I was very bored after school, and I was like, I'm gonna take some vocal lessons just for fun. And my vocal teacher one day was like, "We're doing an open mic night tonight. Like, you should come." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll come." And I went, and I was super nervous actually. I wanted to throw up beforehand. Like, I was like, "Why did I sign up for this?" And I got on stage and I just loved it. Like, I always say this, but I remember like that feeling of being on stage, and like there was like a moment I was singing Grenade by Bruno Mars, my first boyfriend. But there was a moment on stage and I was like this is just like this is my life now. Like, I'm obsessed.
That's amazing. Real quick, sorry. Can you switch your earbud? Because I think you took out the one that
Oh,
has
it's
the
the one with
mic.
the mic. Okay. There we go. You're
There you
my
go.
you're my technology like guru right now. I swear.
All good. Yeah, it's 100 times sounds 100 times better now. That's awesome. Okay, so you got up for this open mic night because of your teacher,
Yeah.
and I pushed you towards it.
Yeah, I actually saw him the other day for the first time in years, but he was just like, "Hey, so we're doing this open mic night. Like, I'm inviting everybody from the studio. You should come." And
Hmm.
I was like, "Okay, yeah, like I have nothing else to do. Whatever. Like, what's
Sure.
the worst that can happen?" And like, I've completely forgot about it. And then the day of, I was like, "Oh my gosh, mom, I don't want to go to this tonight. I don't want to go." And she's like, "Well, if you don't want to go, don't go." And then I have like this thing in me. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Virgo, but like I easily feel like, oh my gosh, like don't be a quitter. So I was like,
Oh,
I'm not gonna be a quitter. And I went, and I just like, I don't know, it changed, that night changed my life forever because I've like had this music bug in me ever since, and it just only gets worse and makes me crazy.
that's amazing though. So I see a guitar behind you. What was the
Yeah.
first instrument you learned to play?
The first instrument I learned to play was the piano.
Okay.
My parents put me in piano lessons, like just like I think it was like a discipline thing when I was younger.
Hmm.
You know how like parents do that.
Sure.
And so, but I hated piano lessons. I hated it. I like one time, this is weird. You're gonna think I'm weird, and I am. But there was one time I like put salt and pepper in my piano teacher's water because I was like, I don't want to do my lesson, and I thought I was poisoning him. But yeah, so I was really little. I was like 4 years old when I was taking piano lessons,
Was this
and
like
I
at your
hated it.
house or at their
Yeah,
house?
like he would just like the piano teacher would come to my house and like we would play
Oh.
the piano. Yeah.
I was gonna
But
say, where did you get the salt? Did you bring it to the lesson and kind of busted one of those things out? He wasn't
my
paying
sisters and
attention.
I, we all had to take, like I have three older sisters, and we all had to take lessons. And so like
Okay.
while my one sister was in the lesson before me, I was like, I'm next. Like, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm not doing this lesson today. Um Wow, thank you so much for not judging me and thinking I'm totally crazy. Like
Oh no,
most
it's
people are weirded
hilarious.
out by this story. But I ended up actually picking it up on my own after I stopped lessons, like when I was in like third or fourth grade, and I taught myself how to play. And then the more I got involved with singing, like I was like 12 years old, I met this guy named Chris who taught me how to play guitar. And he's actually like, he's performed with me before,
Hmm.
and he's taught me so much of what I know about music now. You
Okay.
know, yeah. So piano, guitar, I play a little bit of banjo,
Hmm.
but I'm not a banjo player. I wish I
Okay.
was.
Did your piano teacher quit after that day with
No,
and how did he even react? Was he just like,
he like
this water tastes a little
laughed.
weird?
He was a nice guy. Like he was a really nice guy. Like I would not put up with the things my sisters and I put that man through. Like he was very nice. He just like laughed it off. He was sweet. I saw
That's
him
so
like
funny.
last year. I ran into him. Yeah.
Okay. So at 12, you started learning guitar. And how did you
Yeah.
jump into this country world? Were you writing songs at that age?
So like I had that open mic night when I was 11. And
Hmm.
then it was like a monthly thing, those open mic nights. So I started doing them every month just to like get experience on stage. And I was just obsessed with being on stage. And I noticed um that I was really good at singing country songs. So
Okay.
I was like, maybe I should like just like I'm a researcher, so maybe I should just start researching country music. Maybe I should look into it. Like maybe I should just like learn more about it. And so I just started listening to every era of country music and singing it, which led to me like it was all I listened to. And so I started writing country music. The
Okay.
reason I actually started writing is because my dad, my dad was like, I was 12 years old and he's like, you can't just like get on stage and sing people's songs. That's like not a career. And I was like, yes, it is. I'm gonna make it one. And he was like, no, you have to write a song. And I was so mad at him that I was like, I'm gonna prove this man wrong. And I wrote 2 songs that night. And then
Wow.
yeah, I just never stopped after that. I'm just like a music chick kind of. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Like it's just
Sure.
my yeah, it's very effortless for me all of that. I think because I love it so much and I just like it's my life.
Hmm. When you
Yeah.
wrote those 2 songs, did you start playing your own material at these open mic nights, or when did that
Yeah,
start?
I started just like going out. I started branching off from the open mic nights and just going out to different places around town where I'm from and just like testing out my songs and seeing what I liked. I like started meeting different musicians too through like, because you just meet
Yeah, networking,
people.
so to speak.
Yeah. And so like I would get together with different like bands, like house bands. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, now that I think about this, I was so young to be doing this. I would get together with different house bands, like at different like kind of like bar settings. And we would kind of bring my music to life because I was just writing them on my guitars.
Hmm.
And we would just bring the music to life and we would play it out. And I was able to test like what was good and what was bad. And yeah. And then I met Billy from Fender, which also in a way kind of changed my life.
Okay. How did that happen?
So he contacted my parents. Maybe it was from me performing out. I still honestly don't know to this day. And Billy from Fender contacted my parents about like a sponsorship kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so my parents took me over to the Fender headquarters here in Scottsdale. And I right off the bat, Billy and I just like we really hit it off. We were like really tight. And he was like, listen, like you're so talented. Like, do you want to work with Fender? And I was like 13 or 14 years old. And I was like, yeah, I want to work with Fender.
Yeah, that's
And
huge.
yeah, it was crazy. And so he took me around the building. He showed me like their little like factory thing. And just like it was one of the coolest days of my life. And then yeah, so he gave me guitars and stuff like that. And then he called me one day and said, hey, there's this guy from a record label in Nashville. He's going to be in Arizona. And I was telling him about you. You guys should totally meet up. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay. So we met at Fender. Um, and this guy and I, we were talking about Nashville. I was 15 at the time, and we were talking about Nashville, and I was like, I'm dying to go. I want to write there. I want to do like the Nashville thing.
Mm-hmm.
And um he was like, let me like help you get some rights under your belt. Let's get you in with some publishers. So he took me around Nashville, and like I met a ton of writers. And so I was constantly grinding there and writing there. And it got to the point where I was like, after like a year and a half, 2 years, I was like, okay, I've got to move here because I can't keep going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I graduated high school early, and I moved to Nashville.
Wow.
And yeah, and I loved it at first. I really did. I was used to the writing thing, like the grinding writing thing all day long. Um, but I was like, after a minute, I was like, looked at all the material I had, and like, this is my art. So I take it super
Mm-hmm.
seriously. And I was like, I'm just not like, if these songs were on the radio, like I wouldn't, and they weren't my songs, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't listen to them. I'd probably like change the
Uh,
freaking
change
thing or whatever.
station.
Yeah. So I was like, there's something not right here. I'm not happy with my art anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, okay, something's gotta change. So I sat down in my apartment one night in Nashville, and I just like downloaded Logic, and I started making these little demos and writing to them. And I was like, these are pretty like, these are like not even on like that border between country and pop. These are pop.
Okay.
And so um yeah, and so I just kept developing that sound, and I left Nashville and I moved to LA, and that's what I'm doing now.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. So what were those first writing sessions like, especially being so young? Was that terrifying going in these rooms with like these pro country songwriters?
Dude, I remember my first songwriting session, and I will tell you, I was so nervous because I was so young, and these guys were so old. And I went in, I went in, and I had like cowboy boots on. They were like bedazzled. Oh my gosh, I'm disgusting. And so, but the guy, actually, the first guy I wrote with, I think his name was like Ken or Kevin, something with a K. And he was like, "You're a really good writer, especially for such a young girl." Because he's like, "You don't just write songs about love. This song you're showing me is a song about like feeling anxious and feeling like you don't belong in society." Like, he's like, most young girls right now are just writing about love. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I just like write what I feel about. And but he showed me like song structure, and he showed me like how to like take your writing from just being like, he showed me how to take it to the next level on that first write. And so
Mm-hmm.
then like it was easy. Like after that, going into other writes, I had a bit more confidence. You know what I mean? I kind of took what he said, and like I took all of his, like I took mental notes, and I like brought him to the next write, and then I would learn from that write and the write after that. You know, so I would just absorb and go in. And even though I was super nervous, you have to go in with
Mm-hmm.
confidence, and it's really hard sometimes in those writes because it's like little mini therapy sessions. You know what I
Sure.
mean? With
Yeah.
melodies and stuff like that.
And you have to be
Yeah.
like super vulnerable to these people that you just met like 15 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. I've been in rights before where I don't even know the people, like first time meeting, and I like start crying like a train wreck. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy, like he's not calling me, and I really like him. And they're like, oh my gosh. But yeah.
That's cool. Well, so were you, I did read that you've played like stagecoach and stuff. Was that all, when you're still writing songs in Nashville? Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah. So I was working with WME in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I got like a little of them when I was 16. And so um yeah, so they started setting me up on festivals and stuff, and
Wow.
Stagecoach and Country Thunder were two of them. Yeah, I'm super blessed the places I've been able to go and like share my art. I feel really lucky. Stagecoach was insane because like I didn't know what Stagecoach was before like I performed there. And so
Right.
I like got there. I'm like, why are there like 100,000 people here? Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
Sure.
I looked at my band and I'm like, you guys, what's going on? And they're like, Julia, are you clueless? And I'm like, I guess so. I guess so.
So how was playing that? That must have been crazy.
Playing stagecoach was insane. There was actually a windstorm the day I performed.
Oh, fun.
And yeah, it was kind of like I was super like nervous about it, but once I got on stage, I was like, this is gonna be like a fun experience. It's like
Mhm.
a good way for me to learn how to play in a windstorm, like hands on. And
You're prepared for the next windstorm performance.
yes, but I loved it actually. I like crazy stuff like that. I had a
Mhm.
really great band with me that day. My friend Mike Martin, my guitar player, he's no longer here, but we played together that day, and so I'll always be grateful for that. And yeah, it was a great experience. I loved Stagecoach.
That's cool. That's really cool. And
Yeah.
you said during this whole like lockdown pandemic is when you changed your sound to more this pop R&B. Um,
Yeah.
well, right prior to that, you were still writing country up until March of 2020, like a year
Okay,
ago?
so I left Nashville in March of 2019,
Okay,
and
so
I
like
wrote this song.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wrote this song called Love Myself, which was like pop, but it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was full in it yet. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was um like I wasn't all the way there yet. And
Mhm.
so I spent the rest of 2019 just kind of like listening to a lot of music and figuring out what I wanted to write about, just experimenting with a lot of different sounds. And then like January to March, I was like, okay, like this is what I want to say and this is how I'm going to do it. And then COVID hit and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to like I don't know, I think you have to like do things for yourself and you can't let anything stop you. And I was pretty determined to make sure I made that switch over.
So when COVID hit, where were you at? Were you in writing sessions and starting and working on
Yeah.
this EP, or the EP hadn't even started until COVID?
Okay, so I went through a breakup in like the first month. It wasn't even a breakup. My ex-boyfriend and I broke up before like like a month before the whole COVID thing. And then we started
Okay.
talking again. And then like a month into the whole lockdown, we stopped talking. And I was like so inspired that I just was up all night writing on my own. Like every single I just was writing 24/7. And then I met my producer and I was like, "Okay, I have all these songs. Like let's let's track them, let's do it." So we did it like virtually because we were still in the lockdown. And
Well, how did you meet your
yeah.
producer in lockdown?
Okay, so we met through I'm trying to think. We met in like April of last year. I want to say it was through Instagram. I think we met through
Okay.
Instagram. Yeah, and this is Dave Berg, and we just really like it off. We listened to like all the same music, so he instantly knew what I wanted the songs to sound like.
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know, something popped up on the screen. He instantly knew what I wanted the songs to sound like,
Okay.
and so the songs came together super quickly, and we made this little project, and it like I don't know, I'm really excited for the rest of the EP to come out. Like we released Human,
Hmm.
which was super exciting and like nerve-wracking. It's like I don't know about other artists, but like when I go to release a song, I feel extremely nervous. Like I feel vulnerable. I feel like I'm naked. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Sure.
oh, and so that was super nerve-wracking. And now that like I'm over that hump, I'm like, okay, I want to get the rest of these songs out there.
Hmm.
And Self-Destructive's coming out with the video. And there's one song I'm actually very excited for people to hear called Dumb.
Okay.
And yeah, I've never written anything like Dumb or any
What
of these
what's so
songs.
different about it, or why are you so excited about it?
It's much more like I feel like when I was younger and just like in a different sound,
Hmm.
I like didn't want to like be like what's the word I'm looking for? I wanted to like say without saying. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
and I wanted to be like more mysterious maybe about my writing, and
sure.
but now I'm just like I just want to be relatable, and I just want people to know that I know what they're going through and I get it.
Hmm.
And so like the hook of this song is like um I look so dumb. And but it's got like a cool little vibe about it, and it's just about like going through a breakup and like still wanting the person, and it's like, baby, you make me look so dumb. Oh, I look so dumb. But you'll hear it and
Hmm.
you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I guess I used to like be worried about saying too much before, and it would take away maybe the relatability of the song. And now like all I want is just to be real and to keep it real and to let people know like, hey, like what you're feeling is okay and everything is going to be fine in the end, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, going back to you talked about, being anxious or how vulnerable it is to
Yeah,
release a song. Was it even more so because you had been writing country and releasing country songs, and then, maybe your fans were expecting, something
for
like Human to come
sure.
out?
For sure. Like that was another thing with switching over. That was very hard for me. I thought when I made up my mind and I said I'm going to do this, I didn't think about all the things that come into play. Like, okay, I have to tell my agent. I have to tell everybody I'm working with in Nashville. I have to tell this person. I have to tell that person. Um, and so like I got a lot of different opinions about it. And then like on top of that, I have to like announce it over social media to like the people who support me and listen to my music, and I don't want them to feel like I'm like blindsiding them, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like so that transition was hard because I got a lot of different opinions. So now releasing this music, it does make it more of an anxious, anxiety ridden experience because I think about all those opinions, but at the end of the day I have to do what my heart is telling me to do, you
Hmm.
know? And I'm
Yeah.
lucky that the people like who listen to my music have been so supportive and have they're really excited about these new songs, and I'm so grateful for that.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And you said there's a video coming out for Self-Destructive?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Oh my gosh.
How's that video? And was it difficult to kind of put together over this, quarantine? And actually recording this record, were you able to do that in a proper studio? Is this something that you had to record at home and then you're sending the files to your producer? And
Yeah,
how
so
did the album come together?
recording this project was interesting because I'm used to being in like a studio with a producer and he's like, "Okay, do this now, do that now." Like and we're like kind of just like majorly like I don't know. Okay, it's weird. I'm all over the place, but it's weird because like being in the studio, it's like you feel collaborative, but then when you're like virtual, it feels more collaborative and I don't know why. Do you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like I think it's cuz you're like constantly saying like you send something, you're like, what do you think of this? And then he sends it back and he's like, I think this. What do you think? Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not as
yeah.
quick. Um, so, but recording, so he and I talked on the phone, and we were like, we're both neurotic. And I was like, I'm scared of COVID. And he was like, I'm scared of COVID too. So he was like, I'm going to send you everything to get to record. And I'll send you the tracks. And like, you just start cutting the tracks, like cutting your vocals, and then send them to me. And I'll tell you what I think. And that's how we did it. We went back and forth for a minute, just for the vocals and getting everything done and then doing the harmonies. So that was interesting. And I was like, okay, so Human was the first one that I
Mhm.
cut vocals on. And I was like second guessing myself while I was recording it because I was like, oh my gosh, like I need a producer in here. I need a sound engineer in here to just like tell me, like, okay, like you sound good, you sound bad. Like,
Right. Like do another take or
yeah.
yeah.
But once
Sure.
I got over that and like was like, okay, you're a bad bitch and you got this, like it all started going very smoothly and we made it work.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, yeah, it was fun. Um, what was your other question though?
I
You
was
had
curious about the music video as well,
the
because you're
music
kind of under
video.
the same, parameters with people not being
Yeah.
able to be around each other and stuff.
Okay, so what's crazy is okay, so everybody from the video was actually here in Arizona. Everybody, like the film crew, they were
Okay.
here in Arizona, so that was fine. Arizona's open, so we really didn't have any problems with that. The like guy in the video is from Canada. And so we were like, "Oh my gosh, we have somebody coming from a different country. How are we going to make this work?" And everything went so smoothly. Like I was shocked. Um this video is also something super new in my life. Like the last music video I did was way younger than this one. Like in this one, I'm like smoking a cigarette. I like had the I I like you know what I mean? So I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so scary. Mom, dad, don't watch this. But yeah, so the video is very new for me as well. A lot of new things in my life right now, but I'm here for it. I like it.
That's awesome. I love it. What about performing? I have seen on your Instagram that you've done like, little like played some songs live, or do you do the live streams pretty often? Or I've seen a couple of videos on there.
Okay, so like what I do is honestly, I miss performing so much. Like I told you
Hmm.
before, it's my favorite thing in the world. Is like it's a different kind of like human connection when you're like sitting there bonding over music, and in a live setting. Um, but so what I do is I just like go live a lot on TikTok and Instagram,
Hmm.
and I'm like, send me songs. And we just like sit there and we play songs and we talk and we just like I don't know, that's my way of performing these days.
Sure.
I really want to put together some sort of virtual like concert or something like that. um Especially because I used to perform like before the pandemic. Once a month I would perform at like the children's hospitals with
Oh,
this
wow.
organization. Yeah, and that is like my favorite thing in the world. And so I want to put together something like for the children's hospitals because I'm like, they love music so much over there. And I don't know, I think in those situations they can use music more than any of us. And
Hmm.
so I want to put together something for them.
Very
Some
cool. How
sort
did
of
you get involved in that? Was it just something you had an interest in, or?
when I first started working with Fender,
Hmm.
I said to Billy, like, one of my dreams is to perform at children's hospitals. And he was like, I have like a friend over at Phoenix Children's Hospital. I could introduce you to her. And she told me, like, the friend, she was like, there's this organization called Musicians on Call. They like take you around to different hospitals all over the country. And you could perform for children, you can perform for veterans, like seriously, like all these different kinds of hospitals. I've been in so many different settings. And I was like, sign me up. How do I
Hmm.
get on this? And so yeah, I started doing that. I think I was like 14 or 15 when
Wow.
finally got signed up with Musicians on Call. Yeah, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
That's really cool. Do you do
Yeah.
a lot of covers, or how does it work? Do you play for a
So
while, or kind of cruise around to different people's rooms, or?
okay, so like you get there at a certain time, and then there's like a guide who
Hmm.
comes outside and gets you, and they walk you through the floors, and you go from room to room. Um, and like in terms of songs, they give you like depending on the hospital you're at, they give you like a list of songs that are like appropriate to sing.
Oh,
Because you never
okay.
know. Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, it's fun though. I love it. I love those kids so much. They're the best. I love
That's
them.
really cool. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully everything opens up soon enough and you'll be able to get back doing that. And then obviously
Yeah.
performing your own songs again on
Oh my
tour. And
gosh. Yeah.
yeah, with the new record, are you when it comes out, are you planning maybe some sort of virtual thing like to release it, or have you
I
been
want
testing the
to.
songs out online at all as far as like in the live setting?
Yeah, so I've been playing some of my songs on the lives, especially Self-Destructive, because people are really excited about Self-Destructive because of the video. And so like they're always like I go live and they're like, sing Self-Destructive. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, I want to. We've been talking about planning like some sort of show of some sort to showcase the songs and just to like bring music back, man. Let's do
Hmm.
this. Like, can we
Sure.
please?
I love that. Well, I can't wait to hear the EP and in this video, see this video that you've been talking about. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you chatting with me today.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you. I have one more question for you. I
Yeah.
want to know, do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Advice for aspiring artists. I always say this, but stay true to yourself and don't let other people's opinions get in your head, because in this business there's so many opinions, and at the end of the day you're not going to be truly happy unless you're following like your heart and what you want to do. And yeah, just stay true to yourself, because there's a lot of people and there's only like one year of you, you know?
Mhm.
So you got to stay true. It
I
rhymes.
love that.
Bringing it backward.